I demanded. How can I make her better? The witch leaned in close, her eyes gleaming with malice. There is a way, but it comes at a price. Anything, I said, desperate to save my mother. You must use the comb yourself, she said. Only then will your mother be free. I took the comb and ran home. I didn't know what would happen, but I had to save my mother. I sat in front of the mirror and started to brush my hair. The pain was immediate, sharp and burning. I felt something pulling at me, dragging me into the mirror. I looked up and saw my reflection change. It wasn't me anymore. It was the witch. Her eyes stared back at me, filled with triumph. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. The last thing I saw before darkness took me was my mother waking up, her eyes filled with confusion and fear. I had saved her, but at what cost? Now, I am trapped, a prisoner in my own reflection, while the witch roams free in my body. She continues to sell her cursed combs, and I can only watch, helpless and silent, as more lives are destroyed by her wickedness. Every day, I watched from my prison of glass as the witch carried on with her life in my body. She moved with my grace, spoke with my voice, and wore my face. No one suspected a thing. They all believed it was me. I learned quickly that she fed off the pain and despair of others. Her combs, beautiful and ornate, were tools of torment. She would sell them to unsuspecting villagers, each comb carrying a curse that would slowly drain the life and spirit from its owner. My mother recovered slowly, but she was never quite the same. She was weak, her spirit diminished. The witch, posing as me, cared for her with a sickening false kindness. I wanted to scream, to warn them all, but the mirror held me silent and invisible. One day, Neka came to visit. She was still using the comb she had bought, her once bright eyes now hollow. She looked at the witch, my face, with a mixture of confusion and sorrow. Amora, she said softly, something is wrong. Ever since I started using this comb, I feel like I'm disappearing. The witch smiled, but it was a smile I knew too well. It was the smile she gave before she struck. Neka, you worry too much. It's just a comb. Neka nodded, but I could see the doubt in her eyes. She left the hut, and I was filled with a desperate hope. Maybe she would figure it out. Maybe she would save us all. Days turned into weeks, and I watched helplessly as more and more villagers fell under the witch's spell. My father, still weak from his illness, was next. The witch gave him a comb, claiming it would help him regain his strength. Instead, it drained him further, until he was as weak and unresponsive as my mother had been. One night, as the witch slept, I noticed a flicker in the mirror. It was faint, but there was movement behind me. I turned and saw a shadowy figure approaching. It was Neka. She had come to the mirror, holding a small candle. Her eyes were filled with determination. Amora, she whispered, if you can hear me, give me a sign.